you know, everyone has it hard, but I think harder than black people and harder than Arabs and harder than Mexicans, you know who has it the worst? Fat black people. It's hard for white people to understand, but that's what I'm saying is very true. Fat black people have a really rough road, because all manner of things kill white people, but you know what kills more black people than anything, more than police and terrorism? Salt, nigga, regular ass table salt. Here, white people are getting Ebola cures and shit, and meanwhile, I'm dying from fucking the flavoring. Look, I don't know if you ever saw on TMZ the big headline, Dave Chappelle, drunk on stage in Detroit. Well, if you saw it, I wasn't drunk. I had smoked some reefer with some rappers. I don't know if you know anything about hanging out with rappers, but their weed is very strong. Stronger than what I was accustomed to. The article goes on to say I was booed off stage, which is also incorrect. I was booed. I did not leave. 2 puffs of weed, that's all it was. 2 puffs. I never had that happen. When I take 2 puffs of weed, I looked at the guy next to me, I was like, I'm gonna bomb, nigga, I can feel it. And that guy called my name, Dave Chappelle. Niggas was like, you know, normally when you do a comedy show, you guys don't know what it looks like up here, but niggas be looking up at you like. That's how the show started. It didn't take long for the faces to switch up, like, what the fuck? They started looking amongst themselves. So I knew I wasn't doing good. I don't remember what I was saying. It just took one person to break the ice. It's a black lady with a Ford Motor shirt on. She said, fuck you, Dave Chappelle. I said, excuse me? She said, I worked all week for this shit, and this show sucks. In a weird act of racial harmony, a conservative white guy stood up and backed her up. Yeah! The whole crowd band together and started chanting, we want our money back. We want our money back. I said, oh shit. I snapped out of it. Good people of Detroit, hear me now. You will never get your fucking money back. Fuck that. I said, I'm like Evel Knievel. I get paid for the attempt. I didn't promise this shit would be good. Boo, they said, fuck you. This went on for a long time. And then after the show, I felt so bad, I took half of the money from the show, thousands of dollars. I said, I'm gonna give this to charity. You know what I did? I bought $25,000 worth of bubble gum and drove around Detroit and handed it out to the homeless so they could chew it and still be hungry. I was very mad at Detroit that night. Because not only did I bomb, nigga, I had to go back to the very same room the next night and do it all over again. Fucking nightmare. That would be like if you were having sex with a woman and for some reason, this would never happen, but for some reason, she had a mouse trap in her pussy. And then you gotta fuck her again tomorrow night. I'd still do it, but you know, I'd be careful the next time. The old mouse trap in the pussy trick, eh? Fool me once. Yeah. You know how much money you have to tell a girl to shut the fuck up? I have quiet please money at best. I'd have to take a loan out for shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, that's Jay-Z money. And Beyonce got, no, you shut the fuck up. Jussie Smollett is an actor from France, and he became famous on a show called Empire. He was in Chicago late at night and was the victim he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. You see, Jussie Smollett is gay and he is black, not just French. Oh, it was a crazy story. Apparently, when he was walking down the street late at night, 2 white men came out of the shadows with MAGA hats on and beat him up, tied a rope around his neck, called him all kinds of niggas and put some bleach on him and ran off into the night. This shit was like international news. And everybody was furious, especially in Hollywood. Justice for Jussie and all this shit. African Americans, we were like oddly quiet. We were so quiet about this shit that the gay community started accusing African American community of being homophobic for not supporting him. What they didn't understand is that we were supporting him with our silence, because we understood that this nigga was clearly lying. None of these details added up at all. He said he walking down the street in Chicago, white dudes come up to him and say, "Hey man, aren't you that faggot nigga from Empire?" Fuck? Does that sound like how white people talk? They don't talk like that. "Are you that faggot nigga from Empire?" They would never say that. It sounds like something that I would say. If you're racist and homophobic, you're not even gonna know who this nigga is. You can't watch Empire. Black people never feel sorry for the police, but this time we even felt sorry for the police. Can you imagine if you was a police veteran taking this kid's police report? "Okay, Mr. Smollett, please tell me what happened." "All right, 2 a.m. You left the house at 2 a.m. It's minus 16 degrees. All right. You were walking. All right. And where were you going?" "Subway." "Sandwiches?" That's when the men approached you? Did you see them? Do you have any? Okay, what they have on? MAGA hats. MAGA hats on in Chicago. Excuse me one second, Mr. Smollett. Frank, come here for a second. Find out where Kanye West was last night. He said they put a rope around his neck. Has anyone here ever been to Chicago? Now tell me, how much rope do you remember seeing? Who the fuck is carrying rope? Like, when did you get mugged, nigga, in 1850? Who's got rope? Who's got rope? You canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her. And they canceled her because she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad as shit. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what the fuck that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments. TERF is an acronym. Stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. This is a group of women that hate transgender. They don't hate transgender women, but they look at trans women the way we blacks might look at blackface. It offends them. Like, ooh, this bitch is doing an impression of me. I agree. Gender is a fact. You have to look at it from a woman's perspective. Caitlyn Jenner, whom I've met, wonderful person, was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? Beat every bitch in Detroit. She's better than all of you. Never even had a period. Ain't that something? Oh, I'd be mad as shit if I was a woman. I'd be mad if I was me. If I was in a BET Awards sitting there and they're like, "And the winner for Nigger of the Year, Eminem, my man." I am not saying that to say that trans women aren't women. I am just saying that those pussies that they got, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's not pussy, but that's like beyond pussy or impossible pussy, you know what I mean? It tastes like pussy, but that's not quite what it is. It's not blood, that's beet juice. Oh, buddy, I'm in trouble now. You think I hate gay people, and what you're really seeing is that I am jealous of gay people. We blacks, we look at the gay community and we go, "God damn it, look how well that movement is going." And we've been trapped in this predicament for hundreds of years. How the fuck are you making that kind of progress? I can't help but feel like if slaves had baby oil and booty shorts, we might have been free 100 years sooner, you know what I mean? If Martin Luther King was like, "I want everybody to get up on them floats, get your bodies good and shiny." I'd like to start by addressing the LGBTQ community directly. And I hope to negotiate the release of DaBaby. DaBaby was the #1 streaming artist until about a couple weeks ago. He took a nasty spill on stage, said some wild stuff about the LGBTQ community during a concert in Florida. Now, you know I go hard in the paint, but even I saw that shit and was like, "God damn, DaBaby." He pushed the button, punched the LGBTQ community right in the AIDS. But, you know, a lot of the LGBTQ community doesn't know DaBaby's history. He's a wild guy. He once shot a nigga and killed him in Walmart. Oh, this is true. Google it. DaBaby shot and killed a nigga in Walmart in North Carolina. Nothing bad happened to his career. Do you see where I'm going with this? In our country, you can shoot and kill a nigga, but you better not hurt a gay person's feelings. I got in a fight. I was in a bar in Austin with my wife. It was during COVID. A woman came to our table. This bitch came over, no mask, all H words. Hi, how are you? We all covered our drinks. Oh, bitch, what are you doing? The men at the table were filming me. This happens when you're famous. And these dumb motherfuckers thought that it was my first rodeo. Sadly, it worked. I ran right over there. I said, I pointed right in the camera. I said, you's a bitch-ass nigga for doing this to me. And the dude was shocked that I said it. He said, oh. And when he did like this, I seen all his fingernails was painted, and I realized, like, uh-oh, this fella's gay. She stood up. He was towering over me. He must have been 6'5", a big, white, corn-fed, Texas homosexual. This nigga was ready to fight. But I stood my ground. I wasn't scared. How could I be scared? This motherfucker's shirt was tied up in a knot like this. Oh, fuck this guy. Let's go, nigga, let's go. A lesbian woman that claimed that I beat her up in a nightclub because she was a lesbian. That is fucking crazy. Bitch, I didn't even know you was a woman. Thank God TMZ didn't believe that. Because I did beat the shit out of her, I'm not gonna lie. It was her fault, I had no choice. I came in the club minding my own business, and a woman came up to me, she goes, oh my God, Dave Chappelle. I said, hey, miss, how are you, blah, blah, blah. This lesbian fella stepped between us. Hey, nigga, that's my girl. I said, yo, my man, back up, like that. She said, I ain't backing up off shit, nigga, that's my girl. You're gonna have to give me 3 feet, like this. She said, stop calling me a man, motherfucker. I'm a woman. I said, what? And then I looked deep in this nigga's cheekbones. I said, oh my God, you are a woman. I unballed my fist immediately. I even changed the tone of my voice. I said softly, sweetly, like a pimp might say, bitch, I'm about to slap the shit out of you. I thought we were gonna come to blows. I was ready. And then, right when you think we would fight, guess what he did? He picked up his phone and he called the police. And this thing I'm describing is a major issue that I have with that community. Gay people are minorities until they need to be white again. I'm being very brutally honest so we can solve this problem. I'm telling you right now, a black gay person would have never done that to me. Because a black gay person knows when the police shows up, they're not gonna care who called them. They don't show up like, which one of you niggers is Clifford? We're all Clifford. Oh, I wish I didn't say that. She dropped that foot back. Boop, she was in a perfect southpaw stance. Her shoulders were angled correctly. Her head movement was good. I said, oh no! This bitch boxes for real. She threw a wild hook at me and I saw it coming from yesterday, so I slipped it like this. I had no choice. I had to go to work. I let that jab go. You should have seen me go, nigga. I tenderized them titties like chicken cutlets. I whooped the toxic masculinity out of that bitch. I live in a little town in Ohio. It must be like 3,700 people. And niggas always ask me, like, Dave, why you live in that hippie town? And I'd be embarrassed to tell them the truth. Because Yellow Springs, Ohio has the most beautiful women in the world. And a lot of people might disagree with me, but you gotta see them for yourself. But it all depends on what you're into, you know what I mean? I like white bitches with dirty feet. If I had a strip club in Yellow Springs, I would call that shit strippies. All naked hippies all the time. And I'd only hire girls with long and long hair that looks like they slept on it. And I would keep a pile of dirt right next to the stage. Like, get your feet in that dirt and get up there and give those people what they came to see. Chalk up. And my guess is, what is this, high school? This nigga probably got a babysitter or something. Go on and answer your phone, nigga. Just get that shit out of here. I'm in the middle of something important. Wouldn't it be funny if we made fun of him? He was like, and he went outside like, hello? Mama's dead. Oh no! Mama's dead. That was a weird timed phone call, wasn't it? It's like his phone is gay. I feel bad for T's, but they're so confusing. This idea that a person can be born in the wrong body, but they have to admit that's a fucking hilarious predicament. It's really fucking funny. If it happened to me, you'd laugh, wouldn't you? What if I was Chinese, but born in this nigga body? That's not funny. And for the rest of my life, I had to go around making that face. Hey, everybody, I'm Chinese! And everyone get mad. Stop making that face. That's offensive. What? This is how I feel inside. It's hard not to write these jokes. Even when I watch sports, I be thinking about, like, say LeBron James changed his gender. You know what I mean? Okay, can he stay in the NBA? Or, because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game? But 8 states have passed the most stringent anti-abortion laws this nation has seen since Roe v. Wade. Now, I'll be real with you, and I know nobody gives a fuck what I think anyway. I'm not for abortion. Oh, shut up, nigga. I'm not for it, but I'm not against it either. It all depends on who I get pregnant. If you have a you need to shut the fuck up on this one. They shouldn't have to consult anybody except for a physician about how they exercise that right. Gentlemen, that is fair. And ladies, to be fair to us, if you decide to have the baby, a man should not have to pay. That's fair. If you can kill this motherfucker, I can at least abandon him. It's my money, my choice. And if I'm wrong, then perhaps we're wrong. I came home early from the road. I had a $12,000 suit on because life's been going good. And I got home early and dinner was cooking. You ever come home when dinner's cooking? Doesn't that smell good? My son saw me and he was like, Dad's home. And he got up from the table and ran over to give me a hug, but he had chicken grease all over his face. So I stepped on him like, yo, my man. Wash these threads, son. This is an expensive suit. I don't want you to get the chicken grease all over me. And he was like, what the chicken grease? Dad, this is duck. A tear came out of my eyes. I never dreamt I'd do so well in life that I'd raise a nigga with duck grease all over his face. They just killed another 12 people in a mass shooting in Virginia Beach. This is happening every week. It happens so much, I don't care anymore. I tried to change the subject. I go, how is school going, boys? And my sons tell me, well, we didn't have school today, technically. I'm like, well, what's going on? He said, well, there was like a school shooting drill. They have drills that they make kids do where they practice what to do if somebody comes to shoot up their school. I'd never heard that before. I was like, what the fuck? Then I had to tell my sons the truth. I didn't want to tell them this shit. Son, listen to me. Fuck that drill. If somebody comes to your school and wants to shoot it up, I'm just gonna be honest with you. You probably gonna get shot, nigga. I'm just being real. You got a famous dad. I talk a lot of shit. They gonna be gunning for you, little buddy. Just stay low and run in a zigzag pattern and don't try to save anybody, son. Do you understand me? All you're doing is training these kids to worry. It's the stupidest drill I've ever heard of. And while you're in there training them during these drills, well, aren't you training the shooter too? This nigga's in here listening and learning like the other kids. Where are we supposed to meet? All the parents is looking at each other crazy. One of us is raising the shooter. Just don't know which one of us it is. All we know for sure is that if you're a white parent, the chances that it's you exponentially higher than the rest of us. Shooting up school is a white kid's game. I hated school too. It never occurred to me. Kill everybody in school? It's fucking crazy. Just do what I did, nigga. Try some things. Have you skipped school, nigga? Skip school. Take a walk and meet some other kids. Fuck school, nigga. Try drugs. Have you tried drugs out, nigga? That might... People say things to me all the time, but what you don't know is it does affect me. I couldn't stop thinking about what this woman said because she's not the first woman that said that to me. It's puzzling. You know what I mean? Like, what could I possibly be saying that would make these bitches think I hate women? Couldn't figure it out. I Googled the dictionary definition of a feminist just to make sure I was talking about the right thing. And do you know what the dictionary definition of a feminist is? I didn't either. Webster's defines a feminist: a human being, not a woman, that believes in equal rights for women. Because by that definition, I would consider myself a feminist. And I didn't even know that at the time. All these years, I thought it meant frumpy dyke. Well, that's who's always talking, to be some chick in overalls. Men are trying to rape us. Ah, not you, bitch, me please. At a shopping mall, an old white lady, she was following me. Mean lady, too. You ever see a woman with lines on her face? Like, even if she smiled, it looked like it would hurt. I knew she was following me because she was at places that had nothing to do with her. I'd be looking around like, what is this old bitch doing in GameStop and Foot Locker and all the places I like to go? Every time I see her, she just be looking at me on me. I go all the way to the back of the parking lot where I hear a voice go, David Chappelle. And I look back and sure enough, there she was, that face. She's probably around my age, but she was a white woman. This bitch looked terrible. So I said, hello, miss. I watch your comedy. I said, uh-oh. Sounds to me like you hate women. I said, well, you know what, miss? It's art. But I can tell you, as the maker of this art, I don't believe that I feel that way. Well, I think, and I said, shut up, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Before I kill you and put you in the trunk. Ain't nobody around here. I'm just kidding, I didn't say that. I felt that way, but that's not what I said. What is a woman? What is that in this day and time? Seems to be a question nowadays. Now listen, women get mad at me, gay people get mad at me, lesbians get mad at me, but I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is true, these transgenders, these niggas want me dead. I've gone too far, I've said too much. Every time I come out on stage, I be scared. I be looking around the crowd for knuckles and Adam's apples to see where the threats might be coming from. Oh. A nigga came up to me on the street the other day. He said, careful, Dave, they after you. I said, what? One they or many theys? Doing a little shopping with my family. In Walmart with the poor whites rummaging around for mediocre goods and services. And then I gotta go to the restroom. Now I'm standing at the urinal taking a leak. And suddenly a woman walks into the men's room. I'm gonna be like, that's strange. And then she stands shoulder to shoulder with me at the urinal. I'm gonna be like, bitch, what's going on with you? And then she hikes her skirt up and pulls a real live meaty dick out. Well, what do you think I'm gonna say? Thank God she's in here with me. At least now I know my family's safe. No, I'm not gonna feel that way at all. I'm gonna feel very uncomfortable. I would feel better if it was a man with a vagina that backed up to the urinal next to me. I wouldn't even think about that. I'd just be like, that's funny. This guy is peeing out of his butt for some reason. Oh my God, he must be a veteran. Thank you for your service. What I think the feminist movement needs to be very successful is a male leader. I'll do it. I will. I will lead you women to the promised land. I will make sure you get equal pay for equal work. I will make sure that nobody harasses you or fucks with you on the job. I will protect all of your interests. And all that I ask for in return is that you suck my dick. And now we're right back to square one, aren't we? And then I said something about it in one of my specials, and all these women actresses came after me. I said, man, fuck y'all too, you canceled. I ain't off to none of your pictures again. They were like, who is he to tell us anything? I'm the one that got off the bus and left $50 million on the bus and walked. I agreed with these women, I just didn't agree with what they were doing about it. No, it was annoying as fuck. When you guys did the women's march, I asked all the fellas, none of them wanted to go. I tried everything. Come on, y'all, it's gonna be bitches there. They was like, nope. So what I did is I called my friend Ange. Matter of fact, she's the only woman that I know personally that pays her ex-husband alimony. And she sounds just like a man when she does it. Fuck that broke motherfucker and all that. She says all that shit. I texted her, I said, Ange, are you going to the women's march? She said, I hope those white bitches get tear gassed. There's a problem in that feminist movement, isn't there? I supported the Me Too movement. The whole time I thought that the way they handled that was stupid. It was white. It was like all of them would be like, let's all go to the Golden Globes and wear black dresses. give these men a piece of our minds. Bitch, that is not gonna work. You think Martin Luther King's gonna be like, I want everybody to keep riding the bus, but wear matching outfits. I want everybody to wear crocheted pussy hats so they know we're serious. What the fuck was y'all doing? I also saw a lot of videos of UFOs. I mean, what the fuck has been going on with that shit? These niggas are here. These UFOs keep coming to Earth, and it made me think of an idea for a movie. It sounds dumb, but hear me out. In my movie idea, we find out that these aliens are originally from Earth, that they're from an ancient civilization that achieved interstellar travel and left the Earth. Some other planet they go to, and things go terrible for them in the other planet, so they come back to Earth, decide that they want to claim the Earth for their very own. I call it Space Jews. Space Jews. All right, it's gonna get worse than that. Hang in there. I remember I was at this bar one time. This is one of those bars where the top shelf should be under the sink. This is where the poor whites drink, the tiki torch whites. Turn around to everybody in the bar and go, hey everybody, I'm gonna buy everyone in the bar around the drinks. And all the motherfuckers like, hoorah! And the bartender knew I was drunk, so she pulled me aside. Hey, Chappelle, are you sure about that? That's going to be $16. Tough time for the whites. And these motherfuckers was having a rootin' tootin' time. They was in there partying, making all them noises. Woo! Ow! Yow! You know all them noises white people make before lynching? They was doing all that shit. I was drunk. Two big, buff, gay black dudes. I didn't know these dudes, but I know they was gay. They had a dick in their mouth. They wouldn't look any gayer than they did just sitting there. They had 1980s gay face. You know what that is? Close your mouth, nigga. What's surprising? You know what I mean? But they was huge. They looked like Jussie Smollett's trainers. Any of you who have ever watched me know that I have never had a problem with transgender people. My problem has always been with white people. I have been arguing with the whites my entire career. And just when I thought I had you guys on the ropes, you changed all the rules. Oh, yeah? Yeah, motherfucker. Well, I'm a girl now, nigger, and you must treat me as such. Call me a girl, nigger. It's annoying as fuck. Listen to everything I ever said about that community. I'll go through them. I said, how much do I have to participate in your self-image? I said, you shouldn't discuss this in front of black people. I said, I know niggas in Brooklyn that wear high heels just to feel safe. I asked you, why is it easier for Bruce Jenner to change his gender than it is for Cassius Clay to change his name? If you listen to what I'm saying, I'm not even talking about them, I'm talking about us, and they don't listen. If you're in a group that I made fun of, then just know that I probably will only make fun of you if I see myself in you. I make fun of poor white people because I was once poor. And I know that the only difference between a poor black person and a poor white person is that a poor white person feels like it's not supposed to be happening to them. Everything else is the same. I know what it's like to have a cold house. I wasn't allowed to touch the thermostat growing up without asking my father. And it would be fucking freezing in the house. I'd be like, Dad, please, can I please just turn the heat up to like, I don't know, 32, nigga? It's really cold. Just put more clothes on, David. Got all three of my outfits on, nigga. When you look at me, I'm freezing up here. And he said, just don't think about how cold you are, David. And I said this, I didn't say it to him, but I said it in front of him so he could hear it. I said, I fucking hate being poor. And my dad got really upset. He didn't scream or holler, that wasn't his way. He just threw his newspaper on the floor and he said, David, 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 you are not poor. Poor is a mentality. He said it's a mentality that very few people ever recover from. Don't you forget it, son. You are broke. He said, these are just financial circumstances that I hope to overcome one day very soon. And I said, well, Dad, whatever you want to call this, it's wildly uncomfortable. There was a big dance coming up in the middle school. I was 12 years old. I said, Dad, can I go to the dance? He said, of course you can go to the dance. I want you to get out and meet some more kids. I said, great. It costs $3 to get in. And my dad said, ooh. Sorry, son, I don't have it. I was like, what the fuck? You don't have $3? Well, then how are we alive, Dad? I wish I found some way out of this hell. I'd do anything to not be poor. I will show Michael Jackson my anus if I get a chance. I just gotta get out of this hell. Dad said, if you want to go to the dance bad enough, I'll tell you what, there's some money in the change jar, get the money from there. I was 12 years old, that's what I did. I showed up to the dance early. There's a long line of kids waiting behind me while I'm at the door trying to count out 300 pennies to get inside. I will never forget this shit as long as I fucking live. Oh man, you know, if you've been poor, you know what that feels like. You ashamed all the time. Feels like it's your fault. And all them kids was laughing, ha, ha, ha. Look how poor Dave Chappelle is. First gun I bought was a 12-gauge shotgun. I'd moved to a farm, and I was sitting there on the porch, and I see a white dude walking across my property. He had a rifle over his shoulder, too. Ain't that a bitch? I said, what the fuck is this guy doing on my property? I was mad as shit, but I was unarmed. So I ended up just waving to this motherfucker like a bitch. I was just like... And as soon as he got far enough away, I ran to my car and sped to Kmart. This is in a rural white area. And remember, I was nervous because a guy was on my property, I'm black, and I was sweaty. You know what I mean? And I ran to the gun counter, black and sweaty, sweating and black. And I looked up at the nigga, I was like, I look like a slave or something. I said, I need a gun immediately, like that. The guy didn't answer, no questions. He just grabbed a 12-gauge shotgun, handed it to me. I'd never even held a gun before. I'm not a dummy. I'm like, well, I need some bullets too. And the guy reached under the counter, put 2 box shells on the counter. He said, all right, buddy, which box do you want? One box had a picture of some ducks on it. The other box had a picture of some deer. I said, well, what's that box with them ducks? He said, oh, that there's birdshot. And then he goes just like this, I'm not exaggerating, he goes, that won't kill a man. He said, it'll just pepper him up nicely. I said, what the fuck? Pepper? You know what it means to pepper a motherfucker up? It means that when the shell explodes, hot BBs will shoot out of the barrel of the gun, not killing a motherfucker, but penetrating their skin and shallow flesh. Boy, that's gotta hurt. Hot BBs? Ha ha! Remember when Dick Cheney shot a motherfucker in the face and he lived? That was birdshot. I said, well, what's that box with the deer on it? He goes, oh, that there's buckshot. That'll put a hole in the goddamn truck if you wanted to. So which box do you want? And he picked the one with the deer up and shook it. I thought he was trying to trick me. I was like, do you have a box with a picture of a white dude trespassing on it? Because it's exactly the strength I'm looking for. I don't know if you ever saw on TMZ the big headline, Dave Chappelle, drunk on stage in Detroit. Well, if you saw it, I wasn't drunk. I had smoked some reefer with some rappers. I don't know if you know anything about hanging out with rappers, but their weed is very strong. Stronger than what I was accustomed to. The article goes on to say I was booed off stage, which is also incorrect. I was booed. I did not leave. 2 puffs of weed, that's all it was. 2 puffs. I never had that happen. When I take 2 puffs of weed, I looked at the guy next to me, I was like, I'm gonna bomb nigga, I can feel it. And that guy called my name, Dave Chappelle. Niggas was like, you know, normally when you do a comedy show, you guys don't know what it looks like up here, but niggas be looking up at you like. That's how the show started. It didn't take long for the faces to switch up, like, what the fuck? They started looking amongst themselves. So I knew I wasn't doing good. I don't remember what I was saying. It just took one person to break the ice. It's a black lady with a Ford Motor shirt on. Said, fuck you, Dave Chappelle. I said, excuse me? She said, I worked all week for this shit, and this show sucks. In a weird act of racial harmony, a conservative white guy stood up and backed her up. Yeah! The whole crowd band together and started chanting, we want our money back. We want our money back. I said, oh shit. I snapped out of it. Good people of Detroit, hear me now. You will never get your fucking money back. Fuck that. I said, I'm like Evel Knievel. I get paid for the attempt. I didn't promise this shit would be good. boo, they said, fuck you. This went on for a long time. And then after the show, I felt so bad, I took half of the money from the show, thousands of dollars. I said, I'm gonna give this to charity. You know what I did? I bought $25,000 worth of bubble gum and drove around Detroit and handed it out to the homeless so they could chew it and still be hungry. I was very mad at Detroit that night. Because not only did I bomb, nigga, I had to go back to the very same room the next night and do it all over again. Fucking nightmare. That would be like if you were having sex with a woman and for some reason, this would never happen, but for some reason, she had a mouse trap in her pussy. And then you gotta fuck her again tomorrow night. I'd still do it, but you know, I'd be careful the next time. The old mouse trap in the pussy trick, eh? Fool me once. Yeah. I was coming out of one of those nightclubs in Hollywood, and my friend saw me. I guess I was wobbling or something. So he just rolled up. He's a good friend of mine. He was like, hey, Dave, give me the keys. And I was like, all right, nigga, just take the keys. And I got in the passenger side of my car, and he drove it. And it was fine. Just talking, chopping it up. And then on the 10, the blue and whites hit us. Now, I should tell you, the friend that was driving me was black, which really doesn't have anything to do with the story, other than to let you know there was fear in the car. Not my fear. I'm black, but I'm also Dave Chappelle. Shit'll probably be fine. Cops came up to the driver's side. Hi, how you guys doing? And he recognized me immediately. Oh, Dave Chappelle. And I looked at my friend like, we getting out of this shit. And then he says, you know, you guys were swerving in the lane. Do you mind just stepping out the car for a second? Still no cause for alarm. I looked through the rearview mirror. The body language of the arrest looked good. He was talking. So then I started fucking with the radio. You know, traffic stops going good if you listen to the radio when someone else is outside of the car. But then when I looked back in the rearview mirror, something had gone horribly wrong. That motherfucker's back there like... And the next thing I knew, they were stuffing him in the back of the car. Oh my God, what is gonna happen to me? And the police walked up to the window. Mr. Chappelle, we had to arrest your friend. He refused to take our breathalyzer test. I said, that motherfucker. Not complying, that's odd. So, officer, what's gonna happen to me? Well, you're fine. We're just gonna have to ask you to step out of the car so we can impound the vehicle and we'll arrange for you to have a ride home. I said, oh, well, nah, I would rather you just give me the keys. Listen, Mr. Chappelle, your friend already told us he's your designated driver. We can't let you drive in this condition. I was like, no, nigga, I'm good, I'm good. Suddenly the shit turned into Vegas. He was like, I'll let you blow for it. I said, excuse me? He said, if you blow in my breathalyzer. I said, oh, nigga, I thought you was trying to get your dick sucked. What's that? If you blow in my breathalyzer and pass, I'll give you the keys to the car. I said, Set him up, nigga, let's play. And I blew in that thing, and it made a noise. I said, uh-oh. And he looked at it, he said, oh, well, Mr. Chappelle, I guess you're free to go. I said, I am. I didn't know that thing didn't pick up weed. I drove home on the 10, 30 miles an hour. You know, a lot of black people don't fuck with me like they used to. But there's a lot of reasons. There's a few reasons you don't see black people at my shows. One is because obviously black people have slower internet connections. I mean, that would be my guess. I don't know what. A couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to be in Flint, Michigan for a charity benefit that was supposed to raise awareness. The water in Flint is fucking poisonous. It's actually making people sick. I mean, Hollywood people like, so what? At least they have water. But this water's fucked up. So a lot of black celebrities flew into Flint, and they did a tremendous charity benefit, and I was on the schedule to appear. So the reason a lot of people haven't heard about this benefit, it was the same day as the Oscars. Right, I know. So I was on my way to the airport to go to Flint, and then Chris Rock calls me and is like, hey, Dave, I got a ticket for you for the Oscars. Can you make it? And I was like, sure, nigga, I'm on my way to the airport right now. Oh, come on, man. What am I gonna do about that water? What am I, a fucking superhero? I need to have fun. I need to live too. I didn't fuck that water up. Stevie Wonder was there. They didn't need me. I saw that videotape of that lady that got beat up in L.A. in the traffic. You see that shit on rush hour traffic? They beat a black woman's ass. This woman didn't even do anything wrong. It was so fucked up, it didn't even go to court. The city of L.A. just gave that woman $1.5 million for her pain and suffering. That is not bad. That's the same amount of money that Marcos Maidana made to fight Floyd Mayweather the second time. And this woman obviously hasn't trained a day in her life. You can see it on the tape. She didn't come to fight. Her guards were low. She was taking a lot of shots. Everybody's mad at police now. I watched that. You see that shit on Netflix? Making a Murderer? Yeah, well, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Stephen Avery is in more trouble than any white person in the history of the United States has ever been in. In a justice system designed for him to thrive, he's failed miserably twice. I can't even wrap my mind around it. If Making a Murderer was about a black dude, that shit would be called Duh. I've met O.J. Simpson on 4 different occasions in my life. The first time I met O.J. Simpson, I was in Santa Monica. At the time, I was 18. I had done a show, and then a guy from the club came up and was like, hey, O.J. Simpson's here, and he said he wants to meet you. I said, what? Fuck yeah. I ran down the steps, and O.J. was down there. He was like, hey, yo, man, how are you? It's very good to meet you, and you're doing really good work, and I hope good things happen for you in your life. I was like, man, thanks, Mr. Juice. Standing beside him, his soon-to-be slain wife. Ladies and gentlemen, man the fuck up or you're not gonna make it through the end of this show. She's dead, you already know. We know what happened. We don't know who did it, but we know what happened. I can tell you that woman was very nice to me. She actually embraced me. She said, I think you're adorable. And she hugged me, she goes, good luck to you. And she held me for a long time. And I whispered in her ear, bitch, are you trying to get us both killed? That was the first time in a nutshell. My wife has a lot of gay friends. Stuart's their leader. She has a lot of gay friends. And I don't like them. Not because they're gay, I'm just judging them on the merits of their character. They're just not nice dudes. They're fucking rude house guests. They're sitting on my couch, giggling with my wife, eating my motherfucking macaroons. And I come in, they act like the party's over. Hey, Stuart, what's going on? This guy talks to me the way a cat would speak if a cat could talk. Hi, David. Stuart, what's all the beef, man? What's going on? He always wants to have some kind of gay political argument. The last one was about a petition in federal court to take the words husband and wife out of the law. I said, well, why would you want those words out the law? He said, because it discriminates against same-sex couples. I was like, niggas, please save me the semantics. Just trust me, take your chips and get the fuck out of the casino. You're about to crap out. Just go outside, talk that over amongst yourselves, and whichever one of you is gayer, that's the wife. LGBTQ. I was like, what the fuck is the Q? Does that even make sense, Q? Turns out Q is like the vowels. That shit is sometimes Y. It's for gay dudes that don't really know they're gay. You know what I mean? Like prison f***ers are like, well, I'm not gay, nigga. I'm just sucking these dicks to pass the time. I'm not G, I'm Q. Ugh. Of all those letters, the T has the toughest road ahead. In fact, I think the T should stand for tough road ahead. They've got the longest mental gap to bridge. That's all I'm saying. Because, you know, whenever I see one of them T's on the street, I don't mind them, but I'll be like, man, I miss Bruce. I'm sorry, guys. I'm 42. I remember Bruce Jenner. Before the Kardashians, before all that, this motherfucker was a white American superhero. It was amazing. He was beating Africans at track and field. We'd never seen anything like it. He was on my cereal box growing up. You know how much of that cereal I ate, nigga? I didn't know he was gonna do that. I knew before you guys knew. I heard things on the street in Hollywood. You know, you just be out, see people. Hey, what's up, Kanye? Why the long face? Nigga, you'll see. I got 2 mother-in-laws now. And when I heard he was gonna do it, I was scared. I didn't think the public was ready. I didn't think the media was ready. I was wrong. Not only did the public embrace him, but the media was nice. I'd never seen anything like it. Welcome to the world, Caitlin. So long, Bruce. Hello, Caitlin. I was shocked. Is this happening? Wait a minute, is this a time in American history when an American can make a decision for themselves? And even though other Americans don't understand it, they'll support it and let this person live a happy life? Is this what's happening? If it is, then good for America. That's Dave Chappelle, the American. Although Dave Chappelle, the black American, he was a little jealous. I was like, how the fuck are transgender people beating black people in the discrimination Olympics? If the police shot half as many transgenders as they did niggas last year, it'd be a fucking war in LA. I know black dudes in Brooklyn, hard street motherfuckers that wear high heels just to feel safe. Transgenders are gangsters. I used to do business with a transgender in Hollywood. Man, everybody would be scared of her in the boardroom. She'd walk in there, newly minted woman, high heels, purse. Wouldn't say anything to us, just walk around the conference table looking mean as shit. And then she'd walk to the head of the conference table, stare at us all, reach in her purse, and pull her old dick out and throw it on the table. Let's talk business, gentlemen. Shit is scary as fuck. If your best friend pitched that to you, you'd be horrified. Yo, nigga, let's go to the hospital and cut our dicks off and make pussies out of them shits. What? Can't we just get matching jackets or tattoos or something? Sure, that's what you want to do? There's only one way to find out, nigga. Woo, tang, bow, bow. Let's go to the club and trick niggas into fucking us, yeah. I'm not with those people anymore. It wasn't worth the trouble. I ain't saying shit about trans people. Maybe 3 or 4 times a night, but that is it. Because these people acted like I needed them to be funny. Well, that's ridiculous. I don't need you. I got a whole new angle. You guys will never see this shit coming. Tonight, I'm doing all handicap jokes. Well, they're not as organized as the gays. And I love punching down. There's probably a handicap in the back right now, because that's where they usually make them sit. I came here to laugh at transgender people. I didn't know this nigga was gonna make jokes about us. Come on, y'all, let's get the fuck up out of here. Yeah, it's about time somebody let these handicaps have it. They done met their match tonight. Fuck them. Little Nas X. I met this nigga at a party. I had no idea who he was. Everybody in the party was another dreamer. Everyone was famous, but when that nigga walked in, he was dressed like C-3PO. He was shining. And for some reason, out of all them dreamers, he walked right up to me. I tried to get you in my video. What video? You know what video. And walked away. What do you want to be when you grow up? I don't want to say, because I don't want the other kids to laugh at me. Who cares if they laugh? Say it loud and proud. What do you want to be when you grow up? Little Nas X. And that nigga stood up in front of the whole class. I want to be the gayest nigga that ever lived. I want to do a music video and slide down a stripper pole all the way to the depths of hell and suck the devil's dick at 10 o'clock on BET while all the kids are awake and can see me. There was a black man who was in South Carolina during slavery who somehow got granted his freedom by his so-called master. And when his master granted him the freedom, he also gave him a plot of land. Now, it turns out this brother was brilliant. And he farmed this plot of land very successfully and made a lot of money. When he got all that money, this nigga bought some slaves. Not only was he a slave owner, he became a slave breeder and employed tactics that were so cruel, even white slave owners were like, yo, my man. Dude, but he did it just because that's what successful people did at the time, and he just wanted to be down. What a fucking tragedy. How can a person that went through slavery perpetrate the same evil on a person that looks just like him? It's mind-blowing. They're making a movie about him. Ironically, it's called Space Jews. Space Jews. If you're defending your home with a shotgun, the 6 shots in 12-gauge shotgun, first shot, bird shot, next shot, buck shot, bird shot, and then after that, gun's Jamaican. Buckshot, buckshot, buckshot. So, okay, like say I'm in bed and sleeping, and suddenly my wife wakes me up. David, wake up. And I'm like, oh, look who's come around. And I pull my dick over the top of my pajamas. And she says, no, I hear something. I go, oh, this bitch. I get up out of bed, grab the gun. I say, wait here, baby, I'll go check it out. Just lock the door behind me. Right there in the kitchen is a heroin-addicted white, and he's digging through the change jar by the door. I worked really hard for that change. So first, I wrapped the shotgun. Hey, motherfucker, click-clack. That click-clack sound will stop a rational human being in their tracks. But sure enough, this person is not rational. They're sick on drugs. They're digging in the change. I gotta act fast. This nigga's almost got $1.50. I warned you, Berkshire. Hot BBs will permeate his yellow heroin skin. Remember, I'm not killing him. I'm just peppering him up nice. He lets out a heroin scream. And that should be the end of it. But, I miscalculated. While he's on the ground screaming, I noticed that his teeth are horribly miscolored. That's not heroin at all, is it? That's crystal meth. He pops right back up unscathed. Roar! Time for the heavy stuff. Clack, clack, buckshot! And then if you got a friend with him, I got one more bird shot left. After that, nigga, it's slugs for everybody. And I'll be in a kitchen full of dying heroin addicts saying stupid heroin last words. You shot me, bro. Oh, it hurts, man. It hurt. Their last words are always the dumbest words. Like, why is your dick out? I was on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, and a lunatic jumped out of the crowd and attacked me. And this motherfucker was ragged. He jumped at me. He was like, I caught this motherfucker's head with my hand and pulled his hoodie over his eyes. He had been growing dreadlocks. These were accidental LA homeless dreads. And he knocked me all the way on the ground. I gotta handle this shit myself. So I popped right back, boom. And then the kid that knocked me down, he popped up, boom. And we looked at each other and realized I was bigger than him. And that motherfucker took off running. I picked the microphone up. So I'm gonna finish this show. I was on stage trying to think of a joke to tell, but they was beating this nigga up right behind me. Everybody could see it. And I'm tongue-tied. Me, of all people, can't think of anything to say. Chris Rock walks up to me in front of 20,000 people, grabs the mic out of my hands, and looks at the crowd and goes, "Was that Will Smith?" Man, motherfuckers fell out of their chairs laughing. I was fucking furious, because I'm thinking in my mind, nigga, this is my attack. Now you have jokes? There was a black man who was in South Carolina during slavery who somehow got granted his freedom by his so-called master. And when his master granted him the freedom, he also gave him a plot of land. Now, it turns out this brother was brilliant. And he farmed this plot of land very successfully and made a lot of money. When he got all that money, this nigga bought some slaves. Not only was he a slave owner, he became a slave breeder and employed tactics that were so cruel, even white slave owners were like, yo, my man. Dude, but he did it just because that's what successful people did at the time, and he just wanted to be down. What a fucking tragedy. How can a person that went through slavery perpetrate the same evil on a person that looks just like him? It's mind-blowing. They're making a movie about him. Ironically, it's called Space Jews. Space Jews. Then I thought of an idea for a children's book. The book is designed to help parents teach their children about racism, which, if you're a parent, you know is an impossible concept to teach to a child. The book is about a big, strong, beautiful black man with a benign, regular-ass white name. And he has a white speaking voice. So whenever this motherfucker calls to get a reservation at a restaurant, he gets the reservation. That name and that voice, who could resist him? Now, I should tell you, this black man is literally giant. And when he shows up to them restaurants, they see that big, giant black dude, they say, you can't come in here. And they call the police. In every installment of the book, the police come and they always shoot him. But remember, remember, this guy is a giant. These bullets don't kill him. They don't even hurt him. They just break his heart. It's called Clifford the Big Black Nigger. Anyone? If you ever meet a white person named Huckleberry, he has less money than you. That is the white, trashiest name I've ever heard in my fucking life. If I was in court, before I did Killing Them Softly, when I was 22, HBO gave me the biggest opportunity of my life at that time. They gave me a half-hour special. I shot it at a place called Broadway Studios, which is on the second floor of a building. And beneath Broadway Studios is a nightclub. And the night that I taped, 20 minutes into my 30s, we didn't ruin anything. We made a deal with that nightclub to not play music, and they didn't honor the deal. And I said, who didn't honor the deal? And he pointed to a guy. It was an old white man sitting in the Ford Taurus. But I found out later in my life that these men were Russian mobsters. And I don't know what you guys know about the Russian mob, but these are the niggas that killed Denzel. And a couple years ago, I was in Ohio at a shopping mall. An old white lady, this is true, she was following me around the mall, which sounds paranoid, but I'm sure she was following me. I knew she was following me because she was at places that had nothing to do with her. I'd be looking around like, what is this old bitch doing in GameStop and Foot Locker and all the places I like to go? Every time I see her, she'd just be looking at me all mean. And eventually, I forgot about her. So then after I'm shopping, I go all the way to the back of the parking lot. I'm parked all the way in the back. And as soon as I open my car door, I hear a voice go, David Chappelle. And I look back, and sure enough, there she was, that face. I kept my cool. I was nice. I said, hello, miss. And she didn't say anything back. All she said was, I watch your comedy. I said, uh-oh. And then she says, this is true. She goes, it sounds to me like you hate women. And I said, shut up, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Before I kill you and put you in the trunk. Ain't nobody around here. I have a great life, but it's not a perfect life. But it's good. My shit's like an above ground pool. You ever seen one of them? Yeah, it's a pool. I knew a nigga in high school that was an urban genius. This motherfucker's grades were so good, he got all the way from the hood to an Ivy League school with a full scholarship. From there, the motherfucker got himself into one of the best law schools in the country. And when he was in law school, he met a woman, and they fell in love, and they were gonna get married. I remember him telling me about it. He was home for Christmas, and I told him, I said, my man, save that bitch for later in your life. But he's in love. He didn't listen to me. He married her while he was in law school. And sadly, they got divorced while he was in law school. He was a street nigga from the hood. This man had nothing. And that bitch took half of that. But empty house, that's some cold shit. I see my age in my children. I came home from the road, this is not long ago. I've been gone for, if you can picture, I was gone for weeks and weeks. And when I came back, nobody was home. Not one person in my family thought that maybe I'd like to see them when I got back. Like, they knew when I was coming back, but they just weren't home. And that shit was a wake-up call. You know, like when my kids were little and the tour bus would pull up to the house, these motherfuckers would spill out. Dad is home, hooray! And they'd hug me and kiss me, and then as the years went on, they'd get less interested. Hey everybody, look, it's Mr. Promises back from the road. And I went into my oldest son's room. I was like, hello? He was gone. And I'd never done this to him before, but for some reason I just did it. I just looked through his shit. Just to see who this motherfucker was becoming. And I found these notebooks, and I started going through the notebooks, and it was all this wonderful poetry in them, written as his handwriting. I didn't even know this wrote poems. And then I looked through his drawers, and I opened up his middle drawer, and I found his rolling paper. And I looked down at them papers like, oh, that's where that poetry's coming from. And that shit broke my heart. I mean, I smoked weed, but I mourned my son's innocence. And I cried a little bit. And I took his papers upstairs to my room, rolled some weed that I'd hid from the family. And I got really high. And then I got paranoid, so I put his papers back how I found them, so he wouldn't know what I was up to. So he won't even know that happened until he sees the special. Yeah, I found your papers. He's a cold motherfucker. Let me tell you, this kid is only 16 years old. Listen to what he did to me. This motherfucker calls me up in the middle of the night. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. He goes, Dad, don't be mad. I knew something was terribly wrong. I said, what's going on? He said, listen, I'm fine. And don't forget, you told me to do this. I'm at a party, and my designated driver had too much to drink. And me and my friends need you to come pick us up. I said, Jesus Christ, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I am faced. But I figured, is better me than some kid, I might as well roll the dice and go pick my up. I said, all right, I'm coming to get you. Just give me the address and I'll be right there. And then he gave me the address and I was shocked. I said, son, you are not gonna believe this, but I'm at the same party. I was coming out of one of those nightclubs in Hollywood and my friend saw me. I guess I was wobbling or something. So he just rolled up. It was a good friend of mine. He was like, hey, Dave, give me the keys. And I was like, all right, just take the keys. And I got in the passenger side of my car and he drove it. And then on the 10, the blue and whites hit us. Now I should tell you, the friend that was driving me was black, which really doesn't have anything to do with the story, other than to let you know there was fear in the car. Not my fear. I'm black, but I'm also Dave Chappelle. So I figured, she'll probably be fine. Cops came up to the driver's side, and he recognized me immediately. Oh, Dave Chappelle. And I looked at my friend like, we getting out of this shit. And then he says, you guys were swerving in the lane. Do you mind just stepping out the car for a second? I looked through the rearview mirror. The body language of the arrest looked good. So then I started fucking with the radio. A traffic stop's going good if you listen to the radio when someone else is outside of the car. But then when I looked back in the rearview mirror, something had gone horribly wrong. That motherfucker's back there like... And the next thing I knew, they were stuffing him in the back of the car, and I thought, when anybody would think of a situation like that, oh my God, what is gonna happen to me? And the police walked up to the window. Mr. Chappelle, we had to arrest your friend. He refused to take our breathalyzer test. I said, that motherfucker. Not complying, that's odd. So officer, what's gonna happen to me? Well, you're fine. We're just gonna have to ask you to step out of the car so we can impound the vehicle and we'll arrange for you to have a ride home. I said, oh, well, nah, I would rather you just give me the keys. And then suddenly the shit turned into Vegas. He was like, I'll let you blow for it. I said, excuse me? He said, if you blow on my breathalyzer. I said, oh, nigga, I thought you was trying to get your dick sucked. If you blow in my breathalyzer and pass, I'll give you the keys to the car. I said, set him up, nigga, let's play. And I blew in that thing, and it made a noise. I said, uh-oh. And he looked at it and he said, oh, well, Mr. Chappelle, I guess you're free to go. I said, I am. I didn't know that thing didn't pick up weed. I drove home on the 10, 30 miles an hour.
I teased him about being the richest man in the world. He took it with good humor. Yeah. And what's funny is I had hung out with him years ago. After I quit Chappelle's show, we hung out on a tour bus. And he says to me that night when we was all together here in Austin, he goes, I met you before. I'm like, I have no recollection. And he looked kind of hurt. It was a long time ago. He said, there was like 2-3 companies ago. And I just thought it was funny, like, that he was the richest man in the world. When I quit Chappelle's show, the hardest part about it, not the hardest, but a hard part about it, was that I had to watch the world go on without me. And after some time, I got used to it. And one day, my son came home and was looking at me like I was crazy. And I said, what does that look in your face? And he said, Kevin Hart just said in an interview that you were one of the greatest comedians that ever lived. And I was like, yeah. But in my mind, I was like, he did? And I thought to myself, if I ever had a chance to honor you in front of your family, boy, I'll come running. Kevin, you make me dream bigger, you inspire me, and you remind me why I love the love of my life, this genre. The way you approach it is masterful, and you are one of the GOATs of the game. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I watched Donald Trump in a press conference, and this motherfucker had all the media gathered, and this literally asked the media to their face to stop finding it out. I was like, yo, this motherfucker is bugging. And then, I'm not even making this up, his lips started sweating. Have you ever seen a motherfucker's lip sweat? What the fuck is wrong with this nigga's lips? It's like if you're on a plane, right? You ever been on a plane? I get scared to fly. I do it all the time. I be scared on there. And sometimes the plane will hit turbulence. And then I get nervous. But I always look at the flight attendant, and she looks calm, and it makes me feel calm. But if that lips were sweating, it's terrifying. Like, yo,
Why are your lips sweating? What do you know? And then, I'm not even making this up. This motherfucker grabbed the podium. He goes, you don't know how scary the things I read in my briefings are. And I was like, holy shit, man. You ain't supposed to tell us that, bro. That's bad leadership. Even as a parent, you think I'm gonna sit my kids down? Hey, little man, come here real quick. I was gonna holler at you for a second. Yo, I'm 3 months behind on the rent, and I am worried. Very worried. Go to school and have a productive day. I was just thinking out loud, getting some shit off my chest. I'm like, what the f*** are you doing, bro? This is bad, man. We've had presidents before that have done bad jobs, but this shit is worse than a bad job. It's scary to watch. Holy shit, it's like seeing a pipe in your Uber driver's passenger seat. All this motherfucker's ideas sound like high people ideas. He just tells us what he's thinking as soon as it occurs to him. This shit sounds nuts. I'm gonna go to China and I'm gonna get those jobs from China and bring them back here to America. For what? So iPhones can be $9,000? Leave that job in China where it belongs. None of us want to work that hard. What is he thinking? I want to wear Nikes. I don't want to make them shit. What are you doing? I am going to bring back coal. Coal? I'm not even exaggerating. I have never in my life even seen a fucking lump of coal. I honestly don't even know what coal is for. If you're going to have motherfuckers digging around in the dirt looking for shit, find me some truffles, nigga. That's what I'm about. And these truffle prices are getting out of control. If it gets any worse, I'm gonna be back down to regular butter like everybody else. A lot of people think I'm from the hood. That's not true. But I never bothered to correct anybody because I wanted the streets to embrace me. Like sometimes I'll hang out with rappers like Nas and them, and these motherfuckers will start talking about the projects. Yo, it was wild in the PJs, yo. And I'll be like, word, nigga, word. But I don't know. I have no idea. My parents did just well enough so that I could grow up poor around white people. And to be honest, when Nas and them talk about the projects, I used to get jealous because it sounded fun. Everybody in the projects was poor. And that's fair. But if you were poor in Silver Spring, nigga, it felt like it was only happening to you. Nas does not know the pain of that first sleepover at a white friend's house. You come back home on Sunday and just look at your parents like, y'all need to step your game up. Everything at Timmy's house works. I feel regular. Just feel like myself. Maybe I'll smoke some weed and be at some nightclub. You suffer. I suffer. You suffer, I suffer. That's how it works. Can't do comparative suffering. If you're hungry and your friend says, you know, people are starving in Africa, so what, nigga? I still want lunch. Black people know about comparative suffering, and you know this is a fucking dead-end game. Blacks and Jews do that shit to each other all the time. You ever played Who'd Suffer More with a Jewish person? It's a tough game. Whenever you think you got the Jewish guy on the ropes, that motherfucker will be like, well, don't forget about Egypt. Egypt? God damn, nigga, I didn't know he was going all the way back to Egypt.
New white people. You can't scare these white people. I tried. Roll up on them. Boo! The hell is wrong with you? Those days are over.
I feel bad for teas, but they're so confusing. And it's not all my fault. I feel like they need to take some responsibility for my jokes. Because I didn't come up with this idea on my own, this idea that a person can be born in the wrong body, but they have to admit that's a fucking hilarious predicament. It's really fucking funny. And if it happened to me, you'd laugh, wouldn't you? That wouldn't be funny if it happened to me? I think it would be. What if it did? What if I was Chinese, but born in this nigga body? That's not funny. And for the rest of my life, I had to go around making that face. Hey everybody, I'm Chinese. And everyone get mad. Stop making that face. That's offensive. What?
This is how I feel inside. If you're in a group that I made fun of, then just know that I probably will only make fun of you if I see myself in you. I make fun of poor white people because I was once poor. And I know that the only difference between a poor black person and a poor white person is that a poor white person feels like it's not supposed to be happening to them. Everything else is the same. I know what it's like to have a cold house. I wasn't allowed to touch the thermostat growing up without asking my father. And it would be fucking freezing in the house. I'd be like, Dad, please, can I please just turn the heat up to like, I don't know, 32? Nigga, it's really cold. Just put more clothes on, David. Got all 3 of my outfits on, nigga. When you look at me, I'm freezing up here. And he said, just don't think about how cold you are, David. And I said this, I didn't say it to him, but I said it in front of him so he could hear it. I said, I fucking hate being poor. And my dad got really upset. He didn't scream or holler, that wasn't his way. He just threw his newspaper on the floor and he said, David, 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 you are not poor. Poor is a mentality. He said it's a mentality that very few people ever recover from. Don't you forget it, son. You are broke. He said, these are just financial circumstances that I hope to overcome one day very soon. And I said, well, Dad, whatever you want to call this, it's wildly uncomfortable. There was a big dance coming up in the middle school. I was 12 years old. I said, Dad, can I go to the dance? He said, of course you can go to the dance. I want you to get out and meet some more kids. I said, great. It costs $3 to get in. And my dad said, ooh. Sorry, son. I don't have it. I was like, what the fuck? You don't have $3? Well, then how are we alive, Dad? I wish I found some way out of this hell. I'd do anything to not be poor. I will show Michael Jackson my anus if I get a chance. I just gotta get out of this hell. Dad said, if you wanna go to the dance bad enough, I'll tell you what, there's some money in the change jar, get the money from there. I was 12 years old, that's what I did. I showed up to the dance early. There's a long line of kids waiting behind me while I'm at the door trying to count out 300 pennies to get inside. I will never forget this shit as long as I fucking live. Oh, man, you know, if you've been poor, you know what that feels like. You ashamed all the time. Feels like it's your fault. And all them kids was laughing, ha, ha, ha. Look how poor Dave Chappelle is.
You know, like many black men my age, the first time I voted was 8 years ago. I saw Obama on TV and said, oh, I'm voting for this. I remember the day I voted for Obama. I voted in Ohio, and my vote matters in Ohio. Ohio is a battleground state. But when I pulled up to the polls, all the soldiers were in line. There were so many black people in that goddamn line, I didn't even know it was the polls. I thought it was a check cashing place. We were hugging each other, and old people were singing hymns and spirituals and shit. It was like the OJ verdict times 10 or something. I've never seen black people that happy. 8 years later, I'm pulling up to the polls again. This time I'm driving a brand new Porsche because the Obama years were very good to me. And when I parked my car, I figured out something that it would take the rest of the country another week to figure out. I understood that Donald Trump was going to be our next president because in Ohio, unlike D.C., you could see the results in the parking lot. Saw these goddamn pickup trucks and tractors and shit. And then I walked up and I saw a long, long line of dusty white people. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, these were the poor whites. And I must tell you, I've never had a problem with white people ever in my life. But full disclosure, the poor whites are my least favorites. And I've never seen so many of them up close. I looked them right in their coal-smeared faces. And to my surprise, I didn't see one deplorable face in that group. I saw some angry faces and some determined faces, but they felt like decent folk. No, they did. In fact, I'm not even lying, and I didn't sound fucked up, but I felt sorry for them. I know the game now. I know that rich white people call poor white people trash. And the only reason I know that is because I made so much money last year, the rich whites told me they say it at a cocktail party. And I'm not with that. And I stood with them in line like all of us Americans are required to do in a democracy. Nobody skips the line to vote. And I listened to them. I listened to them say naive, poor white people things. Man, Donald Trump's gonna go to Washington and he's gonna fight for us. I'm standing there thinking to my mind, you dumb motherfucker. You are poor. He's fighting for me. And as soon as I open my car door, I hear a voice go, David Chappelle. I didn't even have to look, I knew it was her. And I looked back and sure enough, there she was, that face. To be honest with you, she probably wasn't even that old. She's probably around my age. But she was a white woman. This bitch looked terrible. I was nice, I said, hello, miss. And she didn't say anything back. All she said was, I watch your comedy. I said, uh-oh. And then she says, is it true? She goes, it sounds to me like you hate women. I said, well, you know what, miss? It's art. And you're free to interpret this art however you'd like. But I can tell you, as the maker of this art, that I don't believe that I feel that way. And she said, well, I think. And I said, shut up, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Before I kill you and put you in the trunk, ain't nobody around here. I'm just kidding, I didn't say that. And they've canceled people that are more powerful than me. They canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad as shit. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what the fuck that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments. So I looked it up. TERF is an acronym. Stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. This is a real thing. This is a group of women that hate transgender. They don't hate transgender women, but they look at trans women the way we blacks might look at blackface. It offends them. Like, ooh, this bitch is doing an impression of me.
This isn't just a wild weed story. It's Dave Chappelle using humor to flip racial stereotypes, poke at cultural differences, and show how far people will go for a laugh. I'll break down why it hits harder than you think. But tell me, is this pure comedy genius or just too far?
I got a lot of things to talk about tonight. First of all, I've stopped smoking weed. With black people, you didn't let me finish, motherfuckers. Goddamn. I'm sorry, black people, to break the news so publicly, but I can't smoke with you anymore. Every time I smoke weed with my black friends, all you talk about is your trials and tribulations. I'm sick of that shit. I got my own problems. It's a waste of weed. I'm smoking weed to run away from my problems, not take on yours. From now on, I smoke weed exclusively with white people. Calm down, motherfuckers. You win by default. You got good weed conversation. All white people talk about when they get high is other times that they got high. I can listen to that shit all night. Dude, remember at Frank's last week? It's fucking smashed, man. And catalogs everything they drink. 2 shots of Jaeger, tequila, 4 bong hits, man. That shit is great. Only bad part is you cannot pass out around white people. Every time white dudes pass out around each other, they always do some borderline gay shit when the guy's asleep. Frank fell asleep, so he like stuck a carrot in his ass and put shaving cream on his balls. Like, why, motherfucker? Why would you do that to a friend of yours? He trusted you enough to sleep around you. You gonna put a carrot in his ass? Is that nice? I tell you right now, if I put a carrot in a black dude's ass, a nigga will kill you when he wakes up for some shit like that. That is an automatic death sentence on the street. It's a rap for you. I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. I thought y'all was friends, baby. What happened? I fell asleep at his house, right? We was drinking, and I fell asleep at his house, and while I was sleeping, right? I'm just gonna kill that motherfucker, all right? That's all you need to know. And fuck carrots. But everybody's getting along. I see that shit. I see it all around. Blacks and whites don't fight so much. You know who don't have no beef with anybody is Asian people. I see how y'all be doing. Y'all just lay in the cut. Only people Asian people beef with is other Asian people. Like if you call a Korean guy Chinese, I've done this. They will flip out. Hey, what make you think I'm Chinese? I am Korean. I look Chinese. Yes, motherfucker, you do look Chinese. That's why I said it. It's an accident. To the untrained eye, you all look Chinese to me. It's a mistake. I'm not trying to offend you. Some people say all black people look alike. We don't get bent out of shape. We normally just call those people police, okay?
Here's a little history to let you know just how pointless racism is. In New York City, in Washington Square Park, they got these two big trees where they used to hang criminals back in the old days. But they would hang white people and black people on different trees. Like that's gonna hurt our feelings, you know. Like you're gonna see a bunch of black people marching, we wanna be hung on the same trees as y'all.
I like not knowing what's gonna happen. I like making memories. Sometimes I do all this crazy around my colleagues just so that they can tell their friends I did it. But rather than talk about myself, just briefly, I want to just talk about my genre. Stand-up comedy is an incredibly American genre. I don't think any other country could produce this many comedians. And unbeknownst to many people in this audience, I don't think there's opinion that it exists in this country that is not represented in a comedy club by somebody. Each and every one of you has a champion in the room. We watch you guys fight, but when we're together, we talk it out. I know comics that are very racist, and I watch them on stage, and everyone's laughing, and I'm like, that mother means that. Don't get mad at them, don't hate them. We go upstairs and have a beer, and sometimes I even appreciate the artistry that they paint their racist opinions with. Man, it's not that serious. The First Amendment is first for a reason. The Second Amendment is just in case the first one doesn't work out. We gotta let some air out of the ball, man. The country's getting a little tight. It doesn't feel like it's ever felt in my lifetime. So tonight, I am honored that my colleagues are here in comedy and in music. And I want everyone in America right now to look at me. Look at me smoking indoors. I didn't ask anybody, I just did it. What are they gonna do? Kick me out before I get the prize? No, nigga, this is called leverage. The thing that I liked best about tonight was that I saw so many people from different parts of my life, like friends that I grew up with here in DC, friends of mine from Ohio then and now, friends of mine from comedy clubs, all the musicians that blew my mind. You guys have no idea how you inspired me. I want to give a special shout out to my OG, Tony Woods. Miles Davis has a quote. It's one of my favorite. Miles Davis said so much cool shit, but one of the things he said I always loved, he said, it took me years to learn how to play like myself. You know, he would watch other musicians, and he would try to play like Dizzy or Bird, or all the guys who were great. Tony Woods was my Dizzy and Bird if I was a Miles. I was trying to play like you. You were the first person I ever saw do it absolutely right. You were fearless, and you told the truth. There's something so true about this genre, when done correctly, that I will fight anybody that gets a true practitioner of this art form's way, because I know you're wrong. This is the truth, and you are obstructing it. I'm not talking about the content, I'm talking about the art form. Do you understand? Do we have an agreement? And what I really wanted to say tonight, and I'm glad I get the platform to do it, I'm gay. I am gay, and I can't wait to see what this does for my career, being gay like this. So many special shout outs. One of the main architects of the comeback of the century, my brother and my mentor, the mighty Stan Lathan. I never dreamed that I would be able to work with someone as great as you. These last 5 specials, straight fire. I wouldn't want to do another special with anybody else but you. So eat your mother vegetables and live as long as you can, because we doing a few more of these bitches. Neil Brennan, your speech made me cry, because it reminded me of all those hard days of work and all that money I never got for it. The other real special shout out I gotta make, because none of this would have been possible on any level without this person, is my mother. Mom. My mother. Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that she raised me and raised me well, we had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who was charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African-American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in, that I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. The crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, jokes were a little too much tonight, son? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are. I talk this like a lion. I'm not afraid of any of you. When it comes word to word, I will gab with the best of them, just so I can chill and be me. And that's why I love my art form, because I understand every practitioner of it. Whether I agree with them or not, I know where they're coming from. They want to be heard. They got something to say. There's something they notice. They just want to be understood. Love this genre. It saved my life. So tonight, Mom, I would like to honor you in a very special way that I cannot do on my own. But because now I'm a man with great and influential friends, I'd like to ask my man Thundercat to come out on the stage. Thundercat, the Mighty Most Def. Washington, D.C., thank you very much for giving me a home and a place to start. Today is officially Dave Chappelle Day in Washington, D.C. The mayor declared it last night. I started doing stand-up comedy when I was 14. I'll never forget the first time I was on stage. The guy that introduced me was a guy named J.T. Newton. I'm 47. I can close my eyes and remember the introduction like it was yesterday. It went like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this next young man coming to the stage is starting his comedy career tonight. Who knows? We may be witnessing the birth of a star. Please welcome David Chappelle. From the first time that I ever held a microphone, I was sure this was it. I knew I was home. I knew I had found my thing. And my God, man, I was a child. I got good. Matter of fact, I was good from the moment I started. And I'm not saying this to be a braggart. I'm telling you the truth. These old niggas was in awe of me. How is this little boy so poised? They used to say. I was. I mean, you know, I got better, but it started out good. About a year into it, when I was 15 years old, I had written a joke during the AIDS epidemic about having a Goodyear condom. Something, I don't even remember the joke. Something about an industrial strength condom by Goodyear.
I just remember all the comedians really liked that joke. And there was an older comedian. And he came to me one night after the show, after he saw the joke, and he said, listen, I got an audition at another comedy club, and I was wondering, do you mind if I do that joke? I just want to borrow it. Now, I'm a kid. I don't know any better. I'm like, borrow it? Well, I guess, sure, if it'll help your career. I let him do the joke. And then weeks later, I was waiting to go on in a comedy club, and he went on before me, and he did the joke. And after the show, I pulled him aside and I said, hey, man, I don't mind you borrowing my jokes, but you got to give them back. He said, oh, I forgot to ask you. He goes, let me buy that joke from you for $50. And I said, man, I'd do it, but I'm just starting out. I need all the material I can get. The idea being that the more material I can accumulate, the faster I'll be able to make money for my work. I said, I can't do it. I want my joke back. I'll never forget this. Remember, I was a 15-year-old child. This guy was a grown-ass man. He stood up over me so I could see how big he was. And he said to me, really? I can just take it. And he did. I got scared because I was a child. But I never forgot that. I never forgot that. I was 15 years old. I'm 47 now. I think about this guy all the time. When I look at my own kids and I see how young and innocent they are, I can't believe someone did that to me. And I don't think about it every day because that was the worst thing that happened to me. I think about it every day because that was the first time that someone ever did that to me. But in my career, it has happened many, many times since, when someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine. I'll tell you another story. Now I'm 18 years old. I'm living in New York City, and I just finished my first road tour, which was a very difficult tour. I'll spare you the details. Now I'm back in New York, but my rent is paid, thank God. And I have $60 to my name, and a woman that I had met in Pittsburgh, a bad Dominican bitch, was coming to New York. She was going to spend the weekend with me. I couldn't wait for her to get there. She was coming that evening. But remember, I only had $60 for a whole weekend to entertain a bad bitch. Now I'm walking through Greenwich Village, and I see something I've never seen before. 3-card Monte. You know what that is? Yeah, the guy had the whole thing. The table was set up, and he had the 3 cards, and the crowd was hooting and hollering, and he was like, find the red card, find the red card, and people were playing. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but it was really exciting, and I'm standing there watching it, and I noticed while I'm watching them play this game that the red card, the one you're trying to find, had just a little bend on the corner. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, yo, this guy doesn't seem to know that red card is bent. I'm going to beat this motherfucker. And I walked up to the table, and I said, let me play a hand. And I put my last $60 on that table, and he starts to shuffle and find the red card, find the red card. And I kept watching that bent card go around the table, make sure I kept my eyes on that bent card. And when he stopped shuffling, and he said, find the red card, I pointed to it with confidence. Here it is right here. And he flipped it over, and it was black. And he took my money. I couldn't fucking believe that. How did this nigga do that? Was that magic or sorcery? I was confused. So you know what I did? I sat there, and I watched him for a real long time play the game. And I realized that all those people who was doing all that hooting and hollering and betting, my God, they were his friends. They were in on the whole thing. I felt so wronged. I felt so stupid.
And then the next sucker came up to the table and was about to put his money down. And I said, fuck that, man. Don't put your money there. All these niggas is in on it. It's a trick. And when I said that, the guy that was dealing, and this motherfucker was huge, snatched me up by my collar. Feel how strong he was when he grabbed me. I was a skinny little guy. And he was gonna maul me. And the only reason he didn't, I'm sure, is because he saw the fear in my face. And that fear, he looked at me. I saw his eyes go from hard to soft. He softened. Then he looked at me like the way a father would look at a child. And he said to me, young man, don't ever come between a man and his meal. I never forgot that either. Most niggas would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him.